Let's go beyond the connection. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Steve McDonald, your host. And today we've got a super interesting guest. We've got Dave Idle. Now, Dave, you're the Senior Vice President and Chief Product Officer at Bigleaf. And you've had a career that spans serving small businesses your entire career, all the way up through. You've worked at Verizon. So you've got a really great, broad perspective on this from a technology perspective, and now designing products for the marketplace. You're an avid runner, working your way up to a full marathon. Maybe someday I'll get there too. We'll have to see. But before we get started here, because we're going to be talking about the future of wireless internet infrastructure, like creating resilient networks on a wireless environment, and why that's important, why we need to think about it, and how we should have our current perceptions changed quite dramatically. But before we get into that, if you wouldn't mind maybe just expanding a little bit on your background, and then we'll dig right in.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much. Yeah, and as you mentioned, I still allowed my career focusing on small businesses, both personally and professionally, working in Newfold Digital, where we were building digital products and services to help small businesses get online and run their businesses online. And then moving over to Verizon as the Chief Product Officer there for small and medium businesses, and really bridging the gap between the small and medium businesses. We're now looking for very simple solutions that meet their needs, and then moving their way up the stack for more sophisticated solutions that can help fulfill their needs. And during my time there, I helped commercialize both 4G and 5G fixed wireless access solutions for those two business segments and really get that business right off the ground.
Suffice to say, you maybe know a little bit about this subject. I'm going to start out, and I'm going to have you address what is a rampant perception in the industry. Because there's a lot of investment going into wireless, billions of dollars of investment that are going into wireless. Why do we still believe that wireless networks are backup? They're that if we have to, we're going to rely on our wireless network. What should we be thinking? How should we be thinking about wireless and its role in our network infrastructure and reliable connections?
There's a little bit of a history background. The industry is moving fast into wireline replacement with 5G technology, but traditionally, wireless was really thought of that as a backup solution. And so many small businesses were thinking about wireless as a bad position. It was primarily for these IoT type shops, or a lot of video cameras or sensor controls, other things like that, that you really need to stay on, make sure that they're monitoring things within your environment. If there were ever a power outage or internet cut or something like that. So as we sort of transition in about 2023, you started to see 4G become more popular for smaller businesses. It's a very easy solution. It's lightweight. It doesn't require construction work. You had a simple router that acted as a backup solution for your point of sale systems. Small businesses ran into this issue where they might have an internet cut and they can't take payments for a certain period of time, and that can be a real problem. But the onset of 5G, a real transition is trying to get as many customers as possible to transition to over 5G as a replacement for wireline solutions. There's been a huge investment in this space from the major carriers like Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile in the hundreds of billions of dollars, both from a construction perspective as well as being on the spectrum for those different services. And really, the challenge with wireless solution is you still run into things that you might have thought about as a problem that you had in broadband. So if there are customers in your area using that service, it can create issues if the weather isn't perfect, if your house isn't facing the direction of the tower. If you're using a heavy load of applications to run your business, it can create issues. So our technology, or the new sort of technology that's helping to bridge the gap there, helps to prioritize this traffic in the right way and inform your wireless technology.
So you mentioned in there the massive amount of investments that are being made into wireless right now, and you were a part of Verizon, so you've got an insider's perspective. What's your opinion? Why is there so much investment being placed? Why is that the bet? And what's it mean to us in the end?
Yeah, great. So from a corporate perspective, when you're thinking about it from just a large company perspective, like a Verizon or T-Mobile or AT&T, the rationale there is that it requires a lot less investment to build a wireless network than it does to go build a wireline network. And so you think about the construction requirements to build a wireline network, it requires you to dig holes all the way from the nodes within the network all the way to every single household in the United States. And so you can save a significant amount of money by putting a tower up in your region and then servicing many houses with one tower versus having to dig internet cables all the way to each business and each household.
So basically, if I'm taking away this right, what wireless does is it accelerates connected, resilient, always on network infrastructure to the masses in an easy way. In other words, so now I'm a small business and I'm relying on this. I don't have to make a massive investment in my infrastructure. I just have to tap into the wireless network. Is that a good takeaway, or is there a different part of the story?
That's a great way to say it, Steve. So it creates ubiquity very quickly, and it creates the ability to have these large networks that small businesses and consumers can access very quickly versus taking years and sometimes decades to fully build out.
Now, it sounds simple, it sounds easy, but it sounds complex at the same time. I'm moving to basically and relying on a different form of network connection. So we said a lot of things, and it sounds like it could be complex. Okay, I can just tie into it, but is it really that simple? Or is there something that are hidden to the story that we don't quite know? Or is it really as good as it sounds?
Yeah, there's a couple of things to take into consideration. Wireless is as good as the signal strength that you have. So making sure that you're set up appropriately at your business location or at your home is very important. And what that means is you need to make sure that your router is put in a place where it can get a great signal, or that you have an antenna that's attached to the router that is in placement where you can get a great signal. So those are some basic things to take into consideration. The other things to keep in mind are that not all wireless signals are created equally. So there are certain carriers that offer speed limits. The Verizon is a good example of that. They have 100, 200 and higher speed services, but other carriers are only offering the best effort. And so what that means is one day you might have a great signal. The next day you might have a bad or worse experience, and that can be driven by the broadband things that I mentioned earlier, but there are a lot of people that are utilizing the network on that particular day at that particular time. It can create slowdowns of your internet. And that's where you need the intelligent routing that can help to prioritize the right traffic and make sure that it's not creating issues for your business, such as the ability to take payments or the ability to leverage cloud applications that you utilize to manage your business.
So in other words, you've got to, and I know you guys have built this and put this into place, this intelligent routing. Does that do the work for me in terms of, I don't want to worry about, is today my connection speed the same as it was yesterday? Is there some mitigating factor? Is that just taken care of behind the scenes for me?
Absolutely. So that's where Bigleaf is truly unique. So with a regular router, you're going to be stuck with fluctuations. There's absolutely no question about it. You're not going to have consistent speeds through wireless technology out of the gate for some time. And like I said, there's a variety of things that can cause that. It can be caused by the number of users. It can be caused by the carrier that you're using. It can be caused by the weather. It can be caused by the type of location that your router is sitting in. And where Bigleaf comes into play is we've got proprietary technology. It's turnkey. Doesn't require you to do any setup. It's just like a regular wireless device, but it takes you to our proprietary network that does intelligent routing. Then it does bidirectional application-based QoS, which means it's going to prioritize those applications for you that you're utilizing that are most critical, and it's going to deprioritize traffic that is less critical. Those would be things like internet browsing, things like that we can control which ones of those you want to prioritize versus the other to make sure that the right applications are being prioritized for your business. The other thing it allows us to do is it allows us to control the traffic that goes on the upload and download links for your particular traffic. And then lastly, it provides a seamless failover technology called same IP failover that is truly unique in the market. And the reason same IP failover is so important because many of the devices that customers are using to run their business, certain applications like Zoom and Teams and certain technology like IoT devices, cameras, temperature sensor controls, and other important services for your business will go offline for a period of time until they're able to re-IP back. And with same IP failover, those devices never know anything changed, and so they're able to switch over and you would never know that there's an outage. I was actually at a bookstore with my daughter not too long ago, and the store came in, the power went out for a few minutes, and then when the power came back on, they weren't able to take payments for about 30 to 45 minutes. With Bigleaf, they wouldn't even have noticed the difference.
So everything you said there just gives us incredible reason to believe in this. I may have connectivity issues, the number of users, and the variety of things you talked about. But as the user, as somebody that wants to supply a business, that we can take payments, that we can do transactions, we can do the things that when the internet connection goes down, bad things happen for our business. So is the takeaway there that I don't have to worry about that? You've created yet another level of reliability with wireless and all the failover technologies and everything that I don't even notice. In the background, this is all just happening.
That's exactly right. In the background, it's all just happening. There's nothing that the user needs to do. It's completely seamless. But the other more important thing, or equally as important thing to understand, is that Bigleaf has been around for a long time. So we are a known commodity, but we've been doing this. We've been leading the market in this space for a very long time. We've got best in class customer support. We have the ability to support them, and you're going to get the highest quality support of any provider in the industry. And so that's a big issue too, I think, in the market, because I don't know, a lot of us have had to call our cable company and you're going through the queue, push this button, next button, you're talking to somebody, providing your information, and then get moved to somebody else. You have to repeat yourself. That never happens with Bigleaf. When your phone gets answered in 30 to 60 seconds, you're talking to a real person and they're there to resolve your issue until your issue is completely resolved. We've got a lot of really great things going for us, and I think we offer something that's truly unique from that perspective.
I want to back up just a little bit, and I want to put you on the spot, all right? I'm going to ask you a question and have you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. And the scale is 1, not important, no difference, couldn't care less. 10 is vital, absolutely vital to the operation of business going forward. And the question is, because you lived and I lived all through the days where we never had wireless, all to the way to the point we are right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is what you're doing with wireless today to the overall operation of today's business in this digital transformation, data-filled, transaction-led economy that we just can't rely? We can't operate without our data, without our connections. So on a scale of 1 to 10, the wireless introduction to that connectivity, how important is that?
This is not just me saying it. I can give you some examples. It is clearly a 10 out of 10 without question. And that's not a Dave Adams opinion. That is amongst the Fortune 100. So think about the Starbucks of the world, the Marine Layers of the world, the REIs of the world. All of these companies that have distributed retail franchise businesses are investing hundreds of millions of dollars in ensuring that their internet connectivity stays up. And they're using wireless technology across the board to ensure that is the case. And the reason for that is because without the internet, they're losing money. They could be losing tens of thousands of dollars a day, hundreds of millions of dollars a year by not being able to take those transactions. And so that's absolutely critical for their infrastructure. And it's not just about taking payments too. It's about the productivity of actually running your business. There's other automated systems that happen across those retail businesses where they have to send financial transactions, financial information over the internet. That if those transactions get stuck, that could create real problems with businesses.
I guess I'm the owner and runner of a small business. If I can rely on what the Starbucks and the REIs of the world are doing, I probably think I'm on a good track. So thanks for answering that. I also want to have the same kind of level and confidence in the actual technology, because this is a big industry and there's a lot of players with a lot of solutions and a lot of new technologies. It's almost like AI. There's like a new technology coming out all the time. So if I were to say, why Bigleaf? You said Bigleaf has been around for a long time. Why is the Bigleaf component of this something that I should rely on?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got the technology. We've got our own proprietary network. We have 9 POPs across the United States. We take your traffic off the public internet and put it on our proprietary network. What it allows us to do is bidirectional QoS and all the magic sauce that we're able to do to ensure that the traffic that you're trying to get across is getting across in the most effective and efficient manner through our quality of service system. We also offer, people probably look at this technology and say, we're actually doing a whole podcast on this and it's about a new technology. It must be complicated and it must be expensive. And the reality is it's not expensive at all. It's very cost effective. It's a no-brainer from an expense perspective. It's less than your cable bill right now. And from a simplicity perspective, there's no configuration. You literally take it out of the box and you plug it into the wall and you connect to your devices to that device. It simply plugs right into your existing network and it's a piece of cake. So anybody can do it. We offer, like I said, 24/7 support, and not very many companies can say that these days at a very high quality with a very high CSAT rating. So we're very proud of that. We really hang our hats on our ability to support our customers, and our customers are proud to say they're customers of ours because of our customer support. Lastly, it's just the automation of the capabilities. So as I mentioned, the whole system itself works in a very automated, seamless way. To your point, it's completely running in the backbone system, and there's really nothing that the customer needs to do to continue to manage it.
But now, if I'm the IT manager, I'm the chief technology officer, and I want a system, I want to know that it's working. I want to be able to check on it. I want to be able to see that it's up and operational, that I'm not having the downtimes I used to have. Like, do I have the tools as the person in charge of running the technology and the network for my business? Do I have the tools to make sure that's actually happening?
Absolutely. We build a brand new web dashboard, and it consists of all the tools that a network manager would need to look at in order to understand packet loss, latency, jitter within the system. It understands the wireless connectivity and the signal strength of the wireless signal strength. And it provides all the tools. Not only does it provide you a view of what exactly is going on with each of the circuits within your business, it also provides a troubleshooting kit where you could do transcribing within your business. You can really truly figure out where the connectivity problem is occurring within the network so that you have all the tools available. You know exactly who to call when you do have an issue, and you know exactly how to point toward that problem.
Now, there's safety in numbers. And I know just from past conversations that with your clients that there's almost 100% retention rate because you had that plug and play and then the dashboard and everything. And if it's working, why would I change it? How can you help me out in terms of the vastness of the networks that you're empowering, the amount of connection that is happening, that your technology is running on today, is enabling today? Is there anything that you could just tell me just to give that safety as in the numbers? I'm going with the winning team. We're in good shape here. How do you give me some of that assurance?
Yeah, great question. So you're absolutely right. Our retention rate is 110%, literally. I think it's 111% as of last month, and it continues to climb over time. Customers continue to stay with us. They continue to buy more. They continue to add new sites with it, and that's been going on for a pretty long time. That's really unheard of in the market. When you look at other providers and their churn rates, they're losing in some cases 20 to 30% of their customers every year. So not the case with us. We've got thousands of customers. Just to think about it from a scale perspective, we're doing hundreds of thousands of transactions per month.
One of the things that I want to make sure I have an opportunity to ask you is, what haven't we covered? What's a part of the wireless story and your technology and how it's out and really changing what's happening and available in the marketplace? What haven't we covered that's important to talk about?
Yeah, great question. The way that I like to break it up is there's really are three areas that I would say are really important or maybe just interesting to understand. So one is the customer perspective, the customer point of view. So the actual end user, we talk a lot about that today. So you have this technology, it's very low cost, it's doing the things that you really need to do to adopt this new technology and ensure that it's working for your business. It's done in a seamless way. And there's a high level of transparency and confidence in the service that we're able to provide. And that's something that we've hung our hats on for a very long time. The other piece is just from a partner perspective. So our partners come in and they're oftentimes pitching a holistic networking solution for these businesses. And so if you think about it from a retail space, I was just speaking to a partner nights ago. He's describing a setup scenario for a large retail chain And he said Bigleaf would be a perfect solution for these folks because right now they've got an ISP, they've got an SD-WAN router, they've got a wireless router in there. So they have basically 3 devices. I can really connect all the other devices down into a single device with Bigleaf because you guys have all of those things combined. From a partner perspective, it adds a significant layer of simplicity that allows them to give their customers a lot better price. It allows them to have lower operational costs and allows them to deploy these services in a much more efficient way. And then carrier perspective, the carriers, they have to worry about churn at a larger scale. And if you think about it, like oftentimes they don't have a lot of control over what gets deployed across their network. And so as a result, if you were to look at their churn rate on some of these new products, even though they're growing at a very rapid rate, there are certain channels where they've got very high churn and they can count on Bigleaf as being a partner that would help them reduce that churn in a very significant way.
We've talked about so much here that as a human brain, we can only remember about 2 or 3 things at a time. If you were to say, Steve, of everything we've talked about so far, what's the one most important takeaway that you want people that are listening to this podcast right now to take away from the show?
Yeah, I would say, look, 5G is here. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get bigger from this point on. You're also going to see satellite technology coming in, and really what a lot of the major carriers will look to do is create what I call the hardening of the wireless internet. And so there'll be less and less wireline. Just think about, we all used to plug our phones into the wall and we had that long extension cord. We talked to our grandmas on the phone back when we were kids, and now hardly any of us have a whole landline. We're primarily using our mobile phones, and you're starting to see that with internet. People want that level of flexibility. They want to be able to throw it in a bag if they need to, take it to the airport. So we're starting to see those use cases pop up, and we're going to continue to see more and more of those types of things happening. People want to do more of those types of things in their home environment, in their office environment, and in their regular daily life. The technology is here, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger. So that's one thing that I would say to take away. The other important thing to take away is there's just inconsistency in the way that the wireless networks work today. And there's inconsistency in the way that different carriers work and operate and how they've deployed their systems. That's really important for folks to do some research on and understand. So if I'm selecting a Verizon or a T-Mobile or AT&T, you're going to get a very different experience just based on their commercialization of their products or their software. And Bigleaf is also very much here to say we're capitalizing on the growth and expansion of 5G and satellite technology. And we are working very diligently to ensure that the connectivity across this new technology is optimized for customers, for consumers, and for businesses.
So I have one last question for you. It's very rare that we have an expert like you on the podcast where we can ask this question. Tell us what's happening. What's the future looking like? I feel like we're already living the future with this wireless technology. But what's the next step? What's the next thing that we should be looking forward to?
Yeah, so you're going to see the hardening of these wireless services. That's the very next thing. So massive expansion of 5G. So 5G right now is still very nascent and it will continue to expand. 4G has been around for about 20 years. 5G is going to be around for quite a bit longer as well. And these satellite businesses will start to come into play, and they'll also be leveraging 5G. So what a lot of folks don't see today is we have satellite companies and we have wireless technology companies. Those companies will start to come together and they'll start to create what I call hardened wireless connectivity. That's where your phone is going to have the ability to capture satellite signal as well as 5G signal. Today, there are certain carriers that have the ability to do that. It's very nascent, doesn't happen on all devices, and it doesn't happen necessarily in a very seamless way. You'll start to see that becoming much more seamless. The technologies like what Bigleaf has to offer are going to be the technologies that help to enable those types of things. And then longer term, you'll start to see things like 6G become part of the conversation. And really that is just taking that wireless connection to a much higher speed. Speeds will continue to be the driving for the new technology. And merging the two technologies will be the driving factor behind that is really that's consistent, ubiquitous experience across all different carriers networks.
So exciting. I'll guarantee you one thing. There's going to be questions after this podcast. Would it be appropriate if we gave out a link to your LinkedIn profile that if people had questions, they could reach out and contact you?
Absolutely. That'd be great to see.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on and giving us the big picture. But part of that picture is a lot of the future is here now. Because we talk to a lot of people on this podcast, and there are still just rampant misperceptions about wireless technology and what it can be doing for us. And really that it's leading the way in our network infrastructures and our reliable connections and just running our businesses. Thanks for clearing all that up today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks a lot, Steve. I appreciate you having me.